I got my ticket for the long way round. Da, da, and da. Hello there, I'm Scotty. You're not. Welcome back to Juniversal month. Ba 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 ba. And if you couldn't tell by whatever the hell that was, we are looking at Pitch Perfect, which is back there. Yeah, remember when I showed it in a whole video and I said it was for something important? This is what it's for. Going through the list of Universal movies to do that I had most of these. Some of these I get like K-Pax and Bring It On. And like Bring It On is one of those where it's not really my thing, but I figured it should go in a themed month such as this because it's one of the more well-known movies in the Universal Pictures filmography. So here we go. And when the movie started, and as it just started to get going, the first half of this movie, I went, this is very stupid. It's very predictable. It's essentially, I've heard compared to its Step Up, but with a cappella. I also think it's more of Bring It On in a way as well, where it's like, especially with the idea where you have these people who want to do it the same way they always do, where in that one it's they were stealing from people, so now they have to figure out a way to do it. But this one, they don't actually do the new way to do it till towards the end, where it's very much Anna Camp's character wants to keep doing things the way they are, even though it's obvious that it's not working at all whatsoever, and people just think it's boring because they're doing the same thing over and over and over again. To beat it over people's heads, it just gets annoying. You know, when you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again and not try anything new. It's kind of like this show. I tried new stuff. But I always try to do new stuff. I can't do much. I don't have editing skills or anything, but I try to. Every new show is me sitting here, but topics are different, right? This is different. And with that, it brings me to my connection. I don't have one. No connection to these movies at all. Because I remember seeing the first trailer for this and going, well, that looks stupid. And I moved on. And I am, maybe not at that point in time, though. But I would eventually become a fan of the show Glee. And I like musicals. But I just saw it and went, this looks stupid. It's like Bridesmaids, only not as dumb as Bridesmaids. But it has a similar humor. Like one of the first jokes they have is that the main chick, the head girl, Anna Camp, she pukes and it cost them the competition the year before. And then they make a big deal about how they need to try new stuff, as if that's why they lost when it was she puked. I don't know, it's a little confusing. There's also a big emphasis on their rival, Bumper, who is the leader of the Troublemakers, only for him to be kicked out of the movie just before the last act. And it's like, what was the point of him being there if he wasn't the obstacle to get over? And it's also like, if they win the competition, is it now that they've won because they've now gotten better, or is it because the guy who made the Troublemakers better is no longer there? Right? And, with all fairness, they do try their best. I mean, the filmmakers, to kind of put, I don't know what, something happened. I don't know. But, it's all about whoever wrote it, though. But, to make you see that these are the best versions, as if Bumper wasn't the one, because they bring in this character who you sort of forget about. This character that does magic, and they bring him in the 11th hour for the Troublemakers. Oh, he's actually really good. Hey, maybe they don't need Bumper. And then, yeah, I forgot about this character, too. It was like, what is he? Oh, that guy. Okay. Yeah, and we have Anna Kendrick. There's two Annas in this movie. Anna Kendrick, she plays Becca. She's new to this college and she wants to do her own thing. It's one of those things where your parents want you to do one thing, but you want to do your own thing, and her dad doesn't think her idea of the music business is good enough. She's doing these mixes of her songs and they're actually pretty good. I know she didn't actually do them. It's whoever is behind the scenes. But yeah, uh, I will say though, like I said at the start of this, you start with John Michael Higgins and Elizabeth Banks doing commentary. Well, any commentary for a cappella competition is beyond me. But they're there, and I'm just like, they're too goofy. By the end of this movie, I'm laughing there. I laughing my ass off at something they're doing. It just that the final performance is what got me on board with this movie, and it took almost the entire movie because I'm watching them going, it's fine, it's fine. And then the end of the movie, the climax, the big performance, I was like, you know what, I'm in. It's almost the end of the movie, but I'm in. It's just yeah. It's because they go the predictable route of stuffy leader Anna Camp says they have to do it her way, and that's it. And so, like, they have to do it her way, and it's the boring way because they do the same songs in every competition. And somehow she doesn't wonder why they keep losing. Well, they get second place. Yay for them. But she keeps insisting we have to keep doing it the way we always do, even though they keep fucking losing. And some common sense would help you, lady. But you keep on. It bugs me when they do those kind of storylines where it's like we have to keep doing what we do. Mostly in the movies when they do that, it's like they don't have any other competitions, and someone keeps saying we're going to lose if we don't do it, and then eventually, they come to their senses, or they have one competition and realize that the other person's right, but this woman will not move until they do another throw up joke. I was like, the first time I'm like, okay, sure, that works. Then they do it again later when and like, there's because she was nervous, and then later she's yelling at the rest of them, and then she's like, oh, bleh. And I'm like, and then like everyone starts fighting, and the Chinese girl's doing snow angels in the puke, and I'm just going, this was the point where I was just about, is there another movie around this time I could do? I'm kind of locked in now because I also have the sequels. I have the second one there, and I have the third one recorded. It's just, and there's the joke with this girl, the Chinese girl, where she talks so quiet. And you don't understand what you're talking about. And they're like, huh? What? And it's not like the quiet talker from Seinfeld. Oh, right, yeah. Oh, sure. Yeah. It's not like that where it's funny because the other people are trying to make it funny. Here they're just like, the only response that people have are, huh? Maybe you need Larry David to punch up the script a little bit or something, or Jerry Seinfeld. I don't know. And there's no real payoff until later when she talks normal. They're like, and the only joke we get is, hey, stop yelling. Ha! I'm like, that's the payoff to this joke? Is she talks normal and then someone tells her to stop yelling? Right? And then there's Fat Amy, which is the only character name I knew from this. And it's like, that's not even a real name. Her name's Patricia. She called herself Fat Amy, which, by the way, you cannot give yourself a nickname. Your nickname comes from your friends, right? I had a friend. He's like, oh, my nickname is this. I'm like, who gave it to you? I did. I'm like, that's not how it works. And your friends give you nicknames. I guess you can give yourself one. My nickname is Scotty, even though nicknames are supposed to be shorter than your real name. My real name is Leonard. No. Wouldn't that be something? No, my full name is Scott. You know that. I know that. Everybody knows that. And then Scotty, which is a nickname, but it's technically one letter longer than the real name. And another one is like, my name is Benjamin, or my name is Ben, and my nickname, that's not or my name is, those are all nicknames. My name is Harold, and my nickname is, Spider-Man or something. It's like, that's a longer name than Harold. Nickname is supposed to be like short names or something. Is that Amy shorter than Patricia? I don't know. But like, yeah, and that's that the joke. And there's also another joke where this one of the, what's her name? She's a lesbian. And the whole thing is like, is she ever gonna admit that she's a lesbian? And when it looks like she's going to, she's like, oh, I don't remember what it was. Is it on here? Probably not. No. She's like, well, it's not the lesbian thing. Somebody, I did this, or something about. It's starting to come in my head. She did something, and the like, and just like, well, it's all because I broke up with my girlfriend, and Amy goes, there it is, and it's like, that's the reveal, like. It's played as if, oh, you guys should already known I was a lesbian. Then they did. So she didn't have to admit it. So her big secret is something else then. There's also the love interest thing between Becca and, what was his name, Josh or some shit. Is it Josh? Jesse. I was close with the J. Because they work at this radio station together. So they have this little thing. And then they make a rule. Bellas cannot have sex with anyone from the Troublemakers, and so he joins the Troublemakers, so they can't do that. But it's never an issue because it never gets that far to the end of the movie where it's like, oh, they like each other, but they don't go that far. You know, what's the point of having that in the movie then? Like, you can't. Two people get kicked out because they did. It was an accident. How was it an accident? Did you trip and fall on his wiener? What? That's an accident. And trip and fall on his wiener vagina first. Oh no. Right? I think it's easier for a guy to trip and fall into a woman than it is for a woman to trip and fall onto a wiener. You get what I'm saying? I don't want to test that there. I really don't. Someone could get hurt. But like, yeah, when she said it was an accident, I'm like, how was it an accident? I'd like to know, you know? But yeah, they have that rule, and it doesn't really do anything other than that joke. Those two jokes or whatever. And so, like, there's really nothing to it. You think it's going to end up, oh, that's how she gets kicked out. But she doesn't get kicked out. She quits. Because she tries to do something new. And then they take it out on her when they lose, even though I don't think that part of the song was why they lost. I think it was the other part, because they're still boring, because they're still doing the same thing. And then once you get to the third act, like I said, Bumper's like, hey, I get to go make music with R. Kelly or Drake or some shit. John Mayer. That wasn't even close. And so he's gone. So they bring in Jesse's roommate, who, like I said, was at the beginning, and he wanted to be a part of the Troublemakers, but he wasn't allowed to be in there. And he does close-up magic. And it's like, well, we need one more guy. I think I know a guy. And I'm like, who? And then they show him, and I go, oh, right, it's him. Forgot about him because he wasn't in the movie for the rest of the time after the beginning. Yeah. And so they go out there to do the thing. Troublemakers go out first, and they kill it, right? With a nice little, like I said, they try to make it look like we don't need Bumper. So here comes roommate guy who just out there, right? Oh, one more thing before I get to the finale. There's also a thing with Brittany Snow's character. She goes, I got lymph nodes in my throat, so I can't sing. And then with her kind of admitting thing, she's like, I had surgery and got rid of the lymph nodes. And I can't sing above a G note, I think it was, whatever it is. A G note, a G. The key of G, something like that. And like, what a way to reveal that you can, okay. I was like, is that a way for them to have her in the movie? So like, that's why she sings bad and that she can't sing, but she actually can sing. But I'm like, wait a minute, no, I know from X she can sing. So Why is that there? Because I don't know. Anyway, they go to perform. Oh, and I have to point out this boyfriend guy, Jesse, has a thing with film endings, the music that plays at them, whatever. And he shows her The Breakfast Club. But it's applied as just the ending. She's like, "You're right, that is a good ending. I just hope the beginning's better." Like, you know, and that plays into it. Don't you forget about me, which also plays at the beginning of the movie. But they do their thing. They do price tag, which is I know the song. Internet's being weird. Can't reach. Refresh. Price tag. What? Jesse J. I can't remember it off the top of my head. But price tag, and then she goes into "Don't You Forget About Me." Because we're sitting there, you see Jesse. He's kind of sitting there, and he hears that, and he's like, he looks up, and she's staring right freaking at him, right? And I said a la, and he does this, la 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 la. La 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 la, just the way you are by Bruno Mars, which they did earlier in the little acapella area that they have. Give Me Everything by Usher and Pitbull, and Party in the USA by Miss Miley Cyrus. And this is handled weird. Instead of having a winning ceremony, they just cut. Oh, the one thing during this, I laughed my ass off and nearly fell off the kitchen chair in the living room because there's a part where they're going, and someone must have went, "Hey, we haven't heard from the commentators in a while," so we cut back, and Elizabeth Banks has John Michael Higgins' leg, and she's playing it like a guitar, and I just lose it. I lost it. I had to rewind it and see it again. And so then after they get done, they go back, they go sit in the chairs, and she and Jesse have a smooch, and then it cuts to 6 months later, which is not on Wikipedia, where it's time to do new auditions, where the McLovin kid is there with some fat guy, which they were earlier in the film too. And it's like, okay, the winners of the competition from last year get to pick what song they do in auditions. And it just cuts to the Bellas. Well, and it ends. That's how they revealed they won, by the way. Yeah. I don't know, that's kind of stupid. I don't know. But yeah. And because the whole thing earlier was that it was Since You've Been Gone by Kelly Clarkson, but because Becca didn't perform it, it was the song that I so delightfully did for you earlier, but without the cups going down there. And if you're wondering, well, how come you put them all together then threw them? Because I didn't want to throw a bunch of cups everywhere and have to pick them up. Now I only have to pick one thing. Okay? So after all that, what did I actually think of this movie? I liked it. Okay? I liked it. Like I said, most of the movie had me just going, what am I doing? Especially, I'm like, it's fine. The puke joke at the beginning had me like, eh. But then I'm like, okay, this is fine. And then they did the other puke joke, and I went, do I really want to finish this movie? I did. And I'm like, I'm glad I did, because by the end of the movie, I was in. But it took to the end of the movie for me to get in. And that's not good. At least for someone like me. Someone like me who likes shit like this. Musicals. And I love acapella. Acapella is one of my favorite acapella bands. And I like acapella. So it's just like, you know acapella. Where in the world is Corbin San Diego? That's them. Yeah, they should have been in this movie. I don't. What iteration were there at that point? There, Steve? I don't know. But I will give it a very high, middle of the road. And much like with Ted, I'm going to cover the sequels. Like at the sequel for Ted. I may check out the TV show. Don't quote me on that. But I found my copy of Ted 2, by the way. I was looking all over the place for it. Turns out it was right here on the floor. I thought there was a Christmas movie laying there the whole time. But it was Ted 2. So that's there. And I got Pitch Perfect 2 with the double feature back there, and Pitch Perfect 3. So I'll get to them at some point. Anyway, What are your thoughts on Pitch Perfect? Leave a comment below, share, like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for watching. I've been Scotty, and I'll see you in the next one.